getting the first pick.
Get three, Pyro, get three with the
Void Kid putting on a clinic. Whole team's down. Oh!
Experience tranquility.
It is time to experience tranquility, Overwatch fans. Welcome to week 2 of the Overwatch Tranquility Tournament Season 5. Tonight in the Transcendence tier, we have a Meta Rejects versus Orbit facing off in this Trank arena. Meta Rejects is the team to beat, stacked with so many all-stars and champions, it would make your head spin. With Orbit looking pretty good in the preseason, we may see them take this match to the stars. I'm Captain Jack, your play-by-play for the evening, joined by our clutch analyst, Juke, and producer extraordinaire, the bestest boy, Cavalier. Juke, what do you think about the teams that we have lined up for tonight?
Look, you say that Meta Rejects is filled with stars, and I think there's a lot of names we recognize, but we have to admit there are question marks on Mr. Yeti here, coming in on Tank, coming in directly from Harmony tier, playing in Trance now. I would like to see him succeed. I am not sure that he will, but I am happy to be proven wrong. On the side of Orbit, this is definitely a strong team. They look very good in the preseason as well. So I think there's plenty of individual skill on both teams, but also when you're bringing in somebody new like Yeti, especially on Tank, the question is, will they synergize? Will they work together?
Well, looking at our notes here, right next to Yeti is, what do I need to say to be honest? Dad. And that's all it's like. Everybody else has got these season 1, season 4 all-stars, champions, all these beautiful markers all over their notes, and Yeti just gets dad. So maybe we might see some Daddy Ryan tonight. I don't know if that's meant to be a play on words. We will see if that is indeed the case. But these two teams are definitely looking to be some hot shots for this upcoming season for sure. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams for the evening. For Orbit, we have Bluebit, Solsta, Shinobu, Robe, Azzy, and Balake. And for Meta Rejects, we have Dunzo, Velzen, Mr. Yeti, of course, Mr. Yeti, Horus, Sumeru, and Smugs. So we are headed to our first map of the evening, Oasis, and we'll be starting off in the gardens. Juke, what do you see coming out for the team?
Even more question marks here as Mr. Yeti coming out on the Widow for the Meta Rejects. But I'm keeping an eye on Robe with this TP. Okay, they will not be going with the Sim. This is just to get out a little quicker as Robe swaps over the Tracer. And it looks like both teams running the Zarya Monkey back.
Interesting. Well, I mean, they are called the Meta Rejects for a reason, so maybe that's why we're seeing the Widow come out from Yeti, but they're already moving their way in. The hack comes in on to Velzen, but able to continue to solidify their hold right now. Yeti trying to get picks as Horus ends up taking down to Azzy in the back line right there. Horus falling incredibly low right now. One tick and it's all over, but gonna get that help from Smugs with those repair packs to get back into the fight very quickly. Dunzo gonna Dunzo Balake right there as they go ahead and fight for control of this objective. And finally, we will see the Meta Rejects take control, but the fight is far from over as Dunzo gets the double kill. They have solidified control and started their percentage climb.
Yeah, and good positioning there from Yeti. Definitely going to be keeping an eye on him. He had the right idea, not exactly a dink machine, but he's getting some attention on him. So that's what you like to see. Shinobu, on the other hand, getting close to this EMP, and that is the win condition here for Orbit.
All right, well, let's see. EMP versus Pulse Bomb right now in the ult economy. Dunzo now pulling on the Primal Rage. And it looks like the Nano's going to get invested on to Bluebit right there, or the Primal rather, as they go ahead and work their way in. Gets taken down by Velzen with the supports in tow. EMP coming out, gets the double right there, looking to see if they can follow up on the damage, but will be unsuccessful as Velzen falls. So does the Graviton Surge. Not going to get a lot of follow-up onto that, but Control will swap over to the side of Orbit as they start their percentage climb. The fight continues on as we see the rally just getting popped there by Smugs, trying to hold everything together. Dunzo popping out the Primal, but ends up getting hacked, takes Balake over the edge before falling themselves, and the Graviton Surge coming out from Solsta, looking to see if they can clean up. Robe will get the triple kill, solidifying control of the objective, 25% and climbing for Orbit.
Yeah, in my opinion, the EMP isn't even a terribly strong ultimate, given the heroes that they're against. It was great against the dive because there was a lot of heroes that were just awful once they got hit with that EMP. But it's not too bad with what they have. The Ashe doesn't really care, Ana doesn't care, Brig doesn't care too much, and they're Azzy just using one ultimate, and that's going to win them the fight. Shinobu has another EMP available, so as I was going to say, great job with the ult economy here from Orbit.
It's definitely working out well for them, and taking down Dunzo allows them to get the percentage over that of the meta reject, 60% and climbing right now as they are trying to push back into the objective. Dunzo diving in, looking to see if they can get some picks. EMP coming out, gets Dunzo and Horus right there, and the cleanup starts as Velzen gets the double. Pulse Bomb ends up following up on Smugs, and that is a team kill, ringing out loud and proud. 80% and, oh no, almost 80% as we see it swap over to Control for the meta reject.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about the EMP. Earlier I had called it a win condition, but I think that's kind of generous. We see Shinobu swapping over now to the McCree to help deal with Horus on this Tracer, get a little more protection.
All right, that should hopefully work out for them in this Tracer v Tracer battle. Robe does have the Pulse Bomb online, as well as we see the Primal coming out from Bluebit, looking to see if they can smack some people around, get them off this objective. Graviton coming out from Velzen, looking to see if they can get some picks. Does get the double as Sumeru following up on to Robe as well. 90% and climbing right now as we head into possibly final fight territory. The Primal comes out as Smugs slaps Solsta with the flail, and that will be objective number 1 captured by Meta Reject.
Yeah, and even though there was good ult economy there from Orbit, I think just some individual plays coming out on the side of Meta Rejects. Looking very strong despite, maybe one or two players not getting an ultimate at any point during that first point. So, carrying a little bit of dead weight, but it'll be all right.
Well, I definitely think it's something that they are looking into, is Shinobu swapping back over to the Sombra. Not for certain how well that is going to work out, especially with Yeti swapping over to the Junkrat this time around. So looking to get a wee bit explosive as we head into our next map, City Center. Let's go ahead and see which team is going to take control to start things off. We already see Dunzo on the high ground, going to get met by Bluebit as they move their way into the objective. The dive comes in from Robe. Kenji gets torn up by Dunzo right there. That electricity does not do a cybernetic ninja any good, I tell ya. As Control looking to go in favor of the Meta Rejects as the fight has been taken off the objective. They will gain control, but the fight continues onward as Solsta moves their way in, gets blown up by the concussion mine of Yeti, and the dive will go ahead and make its way back into the back line, allowing their percentage to continue to climb.
Yeah, and kind of a difference in compositions here. The side of Orbit really heavily reliant on ultimates with Robe and Shinobu on the DPS. Those can both really clear things out if done right. But in the meantime, great play from the tanks of Meta Rejects, just buying so much space. We'll see if they're able to do it while Dunzo is still coming back here. I'd like to see Orbit speed things up a little.
All right, well, it looks like Orbit's taking to the high ground, looking to see if they can get Horus. Pulse Bomb comes in, doesn't get what it is looking for, though, as Smug's able to follow up onto Robe, but the 4-man EMP from Shinobu might be what they need to clean this up, but no. Big old concussion mine coming in from Yeti, ends up taking down Azzy, and the cleanup comes in from Dunzo as they get the nano. It looks like Orbit is going to be sent back to spawn with 60% and climbing for Meta Reject.
Yeah, and now things might be a little difficult for Robe. A lot relying on him cleaning up with this Nano Blade. We'll see if they're able to slow it down. Smug is definitely very experienced. They'll also have a lot of support from Yeti with the mines in the trap. So that's what we have to keep an eye on here.
All right, well, the dive going back to the high ground, meeting up with the rest of the Meta Reject as Bluebit tries to find their way out. Primal Rage from Dunzo goes on in the backline, taking down a row before they're able to pop that Nano Blade. That percentage is going to continue to climb as we see now the Primal coming out from Bluebit. Solsta able to follow up onto Yeti, so it's a 5v5 fight. The rallies get traded out between Balake and Smugs right now as overtime now ticking away. The Graviton Surge ends up getting the quad as the anti-nade goes in with the Nano Blade, cleans it all up. The tire coming out from Mr. Yeti, not needed, but might end up, nope, doesn't even get there soon enough to get Bluebit. The timer will tick away as the team kill rings, and Meta Rejects takes away our first map here on Oasis.
Yeah, and a great job there by the Meta Rejects. They identified that the win condition was that Nano Blade, bullying Robe basically all of that second point, not letting him get anything done. Here you see the sad Nano Blade directly into the grab, directly into the anti. So they were just doing a fantastic job with target priority and shutting down who they needed to. Also, a moral victory there as Mr. Yeti was able to get a single ultimate built up. So congratulations to him. A big improvement on point 2.
That is absolutely incredible. And I think that it was almost at that point, it was either use the blade or just, possibly lose. And maybe they were thinking of using the blade as a way to keep people away from the Graviton. But when you have both Zarya and Winston firing into it, like that blade is not going to touch them if they're keeping their distance with their beams and their electricity. That's just the way that it is, folks. So as we wait for the next map to be chosen, if you are new here to Overwatch Tranquility, be sure to hit that heart, punch that bell, so you get notified every time we're online. You can also hit that sub button, $4.99, or Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime subscription will give you access to some amazing emotes that you can use in the chat, as well as support this incredible community. And now, based on what we have seen so far tonight, Juke, it looks like Meta Rejects really holding up to that track record that many of the members have set on other teams, being either all-stars or champions. Do you think that Orbit has any chance on our next map, looking to be Hanamura, to turn this around before the half?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was a case of just running the wrong composition, or maybe Meta Rejects just having the answer to that one in particular. In any case, I know Orbit are pretty skilled. I know Meta Rejects, or at least I believe they don't play together that often. So here's somewhere on we head into Hanamura. We could be seeing teamwork and coordination play more of a factor. Um, it is so difficult to capture these points sometimes that it is got the name Dronimura, as we have all experienced. You spend 30 minutes and then you end up in like a 2-2 tie or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it can be a little dull, but it's somewhere that you need to execute to get things done. Typically second point of a 2CP can be just awfully difficult to capture at all because of the spawn advantage coming in, so you need to clear out like 5 or 6 people in that first engagement. um and you kind of have to play it sometimes to just get a third at a time. It looks like we did have some technical difficulties on Solsta. He is, of course, blaming the internet. A classic move for just about anybody. If things are going wrong, say your internet's not doing good. But yeah, glad to see him back in, and hopefully we get started soon.
Alrighty. Yeah, and I mean, with everything that's been going on lately, especially with many on the East Coast dealing with damaged connections, our uh, thoughts and hearts go out to them. We hope that you're all staying safe out there. I know that there are definitely some people that are still dealing without power, so hope you're taking care of yourselves as well. It looks like we do have them back in, so as soon as they are ready to go, we will get back into the action. And by the way, look at this. Oh, sweet merch. You should definitely go check out the merch store. I in the next 48 hours will be spending about $250, I think was the final total for the merch giveaway I did this weekend. So be sure to check it out. The one thing that I'm sad about that I didn't know when I ordered this is that there's actually a customization tool. So if you're one of those people that want your jerseys customized, you want to have your name on the back, you want to have your number, you want it to be official, you can use that customization tool to be able to edit your merch before it gets sent out to you. And there's not only just jerseys, there's hoodies, there's tank tops, there's bags and coffee mugs, all sorts of stuff available. Just check out the link below. It is all incredibly affordable based on what I feel that we've seen before. So as soon as
And it looks like they're asking if production is
oh,
ready.
yep,
I think we are about set. Yep.
you're
So
ready
we'll
to
be heading
go.
into Hanamura now. Yeah, so I think with just some small changes, Orbit can definitely look a lot stronger on this showing. Meta rejects, yeah, I mean, just for them, keep it up. Dunzo was, again, he was doing such an amazing job buying so much space for the rest of his team to do whatever the heck they wanted, and that's always a scary thing to deal with. Good DPS with nothing contesting them. It's not a good situation if you are playing the supports on that opposing team.
Yes, that is absolutely true. But it looks like they're looking to lock it down this time around with Bluebit and Solsta coming in on the double shield. Orisa Sigma also going to have a robe coming out on the Torb with Azzy on the BAP. Pretty much everything that you need for a very strong bunker composition, where it looks like we're going to get the dive once again coming out from the side of Meta Rejects. It looks like we did have a swap, Nerdables for Mr. Yeti. So Nerdables will be coming in, it looks like possibly on the Tracer or the Junkrat. They're kind of swapping between the two, and Horus taking over the Widowmaker this time around.
Interesting. Okay. I think Nerdables is known for being more of a support player, but he's definitely capable on just about everything. He's a very smart player. Interested to see what their plan is with this Tracer. It's going to be hard to get any space. Yeah, you can see Balake here. The break can really shut down a lot of areas on this map. There's lots of little doorways where she's just going to deny passage. And it looks like Smug's getting the first kill there on the Shinobi.
That is a great start for them, as we see them using the environment to just try to hold off the dive angles right here. Solsta able to follow up onto Horus. as we see the immortality field going out for both sides, trying to keep the teams up. Velzen will take down Solsta, and the picks are starting to come in for Meta Rejects right now. The team is just separated all to heck right now, and Smug's able to pick off Bluebit finally, starting that climb on the objective. First tick grabbed by the Meta Rejects as the healer's still holding strong right there. Shinobu able to cross the gap, trying to get back, but Velzen holding incredibly strong. Second and third tick going to Meta Rejects as they head into Objective Bravo with 5 minutes, 45 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and there's a lot of signs of the tank line in particular doing very well on that attack. I don't think anyone was shooting at Velzen, and he's still managed to keep 100% energy most of the time. Just really amping up what Dunzo can do. As you can see, he's got Primal charged already. He might just pop it now and make some mayhem.
Well, actually, they're going to get the Nano first. It looks like the window also coming out from Smugs as Nerdable's able to take down Balake. And the cleanup is just coming in strong. Horus now coming in on the soldier is just getting picks from the high ground, and they already have first tick on the objective. We see the turret out for Robe as Balake trying to work their way in, but nobody was able to touch at all. And with pretty much 5 minutes on the clock, I mean, I feel like Orbit has literally been just shot back into space, and like, don't even worry about coming to the party because the party's already over.
Yeah, really dominant performance there from Meta Rejects on the offense. That's basically just all the time you could have minus minor time for staging. The only way it could go faster is if they had a Lucio, is basically what I'm saying. So painful defense there for Orbit. We'll see if they're able to bring it back. And unless we see some swaps, maybe some memes coming out from the Meta Rejects.
I mean, we definitely see the memes coming out. Velzen and Dunzo going for the all traditional ball and chain right there. The hog and ball torture, I think it is coined by the community. Whether or not it's a safe for work or not, I'll let you all be the judge of that. But they're headed up. They're just gonna go onto the high ground, way past the choke, and see if they can just keep them entirely in spawn.
Yeah, and this feels, like BM, but the amount of burst that they can get here, they could get 2 or 3 kills and just back out if things go right. Robe spotting him out. Oh, is able to get out of here. Now in trouble for the Meta Rejects.
Balake getting that first pick with the flail on the horse is a great way to start, but Shinobu will fall soon to Dunzo after that. Right now, working in the back line is Nerdables on that junk, has Smugs in tow with the power from that beam, trying to hold everything together. Balake and Solsta will fall at the gates heading into Objective Alpha, and it looks like they will be headed back. Oh, not back to spawn just yet. Ends up taking down Dunzo. Shinobu back in the fight right now as they're trying to fight on the high ground, but honestly, I'm not for certain why they're trying to take them down on the high ground instead of just, going to the objective and taking down the people there.
Well, this is the problem with having people in the high ground that can get to your backline. If you just ignore them, then your supports are probably dead. They need to clear this out, but Hog and Ball are both so tough to deal with. You see Dunzo completely surrounded here, still almost gets out as Horus gets a trade.
That is true, and there it is. The picks coming in as Horus and Nerdables both go down without the DPS in this fight. It may be hard for them to hold on. Dunzo coming in with a big slam as Velzen trying to get that healing back up. Ends up using the vape, and the nano now coming in onto Dunzo. Ends up getting Shinobu in the backline, but the picks are coming in hot right now for the side of Orbit, and they are working their way into the objective, and it looks like they will get that first tick. It looks like they will honestly secure this objective. Dunzo, the only one near the objective, looking to see if they can stall it out. Oh, yes, there they are, able to get back into the objective. Meteor Strike now coming down with the minefield, seeing if they can hold everything together. And it looks like they will end up getting the uppercut onto Balake. Dragon Strike now coming in from Robe, looking to see if they can follow up on that damage, looking to see if they can get that third tick, but the picks are just trading 1-for-1 right now. Robe able to put it into their favor as Shinobu and Robe moving into the objective. It is DPS versus supports right now as they try to hold strong, and they will. With that nano, they will get exactly what they're looking for at the minute 10. Oh, man! Dunzo just keeping this fight going, ends up just swinging themselves off the side. They're like, it's not worth it. But with only 4 minutes on the clock, they are already under the time bank of the meta reject.
Yeah, and critically there for meta rejects, they were able to make the fight difficult enough that Orbit felt like they needed to use those ultimates. So now instead of coming in with the full 6, they are close to grab Dragon, but the only other thing they have for sure is Deadeye. While meta rejects do have some options, it looks like they get caught in the grab, but no follow-up there.
Nope, didn't have the Dragon online just yet, but they will trade out kills right there. Nerdbull's getting the double, though, as they take down both Bluebit and Azzy, and the tire will follow up onto Robe as well. That's going to be a quick reset for the side of Orbit as Bluebit swaps over to the Rhine.
Yeah, and that's an interesting swap. I think when you're playing against something so chaotic, it's going to be hard to sort of hold the line here. The only stun they have is Shinobu on that McCree, and there he gets taken out. Velzen taking out the sweeper, not able to push him back, but yeah, the rest of the team able to come in and get some kills. This is the problem with such a disruptive tank line. The Hog and Ball, if you ignore them, they can do significant damage. But if you focus on them, it takes so long to kill, you'll probably lose to something else. So I'm not really sure what the answer is here for Orbit. Okay, and it looks like they're getting that Sigma, which will get them an extra stun. It does have some more ultimate potential once he's able to get down. Combos well with McCree. So I do like this swap, but Velzen, another pick onto Rogue. Just this relentless pressure coming in from the meta rejects.
That is true, and now the nano goes in on to Horus, gets stunned out though, and might get taken out. There it comes, big old hammer from Bluebit. Gonna take Horus down, but Nerdable's in that back line, ends up getting the double on Shinobu and Azzy. Balake though, getting the double on that Zenyatta, looking to see if they can clean up, but now with that Discord holding strong on Velzen, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to hold on for long, and they will finalize that kill as well. But remember, they're already respawning, and with 1:40 on the clock, time is not what Orbit has to waste.
Yeah, the good news here for Orbit, though, is if it comes down to ults versus ults, I would much rather have what they are packing. So we'll see here. They do get another pick that will buy them a little bit of space as they move into the high ground. We'll see if they're able to chain those up.
That is true, especially with the double shield as well. Minefield, though, separating out Azzy from the rest of the team and now having to face off solo against Velzen. But that anti-nade is definitely going to help out. Balake joining the fight, looking to see if they can take down that big ol' hog, and will be successful as they move their way into the objective. The healers are just a little bit behind. Nerdable sneaking into that backline, looking to see if they can take the healers out themselves, and Horus is just cleaning up those on the objective with Dunzo following suit. They're going to get a double kill themselves, grabbing the objective back with 40 seconds on the clock and 1 tick for Orbit.
Yeah, good news here for Orbit. They do have some ultimates coming up, but this is last fight. And frankly, this isn't a composition that you want to lose to. I know that Meta Rejects is a very good team. Sumeru on the support. I also want to give him a shout out. He won the Sniper 1v1 last year, and he is a support player, so very skilled Ana. But we'll see if he's able to bring it back. Nerdables with the tire. This is going to buy some time. 5 seconds left.
No, I don't think it's going to be enough. And with the nano going on to Nerdables and 4 heroes already down. The Transcendence comes out from Smug's Gravitic Flux coming out as well, but gets taken down by Horus on the Widow. Overtime is going to tick away, and without being able to get back to the objective, Meta Rejects hold strong, taking Hanamura and heading into the half 2-0 against Orbit.
Yeah, still a lot of room for improvement from Orbit here. I believe it's doable, but you're just seeing Meta Rejects is a team that have played together a very long time, mostly under the Havoc name. I believe most of them have been around since season 1. Really, always some of the top players in the community. And this isn't really a case of the heroes are winning the game as much as the players are. Like, you see Nerdables, he gets this Junkrat who is normally, he just kind of sits in the back, spams. He says, "You can't come over here and get me." But he was playing that high ground, and whenever the supports of Orbit tried to take it and get a good sightline for their Ana, he just jumped into the back lines, tossed out some mines, and that was it. So
Yep.
they're utilizing the heroes in a way that shows them off that you don't always see, and I like to see that. But it looks like Orbit should have some time to recuperate here as we head into halftime. Jack, do you think this is something Orbit can do? Is there anything they need to change?
I think they really need to start thinking outside the box, and I think that that's where we're at right now. Meta Rejects, I think, is living up to their name and standing outside of what the technical meta is for Overwatch right now, which is obviously fluctuating as we speak with all the buffs and nerfs that have continued to come out over the various weeks. So I think the Orbit needs to take a play from Meta Rejects and needs to start thinking a little bit outside the box. What can we do to really lock down whatever craziness will come out from them? But we'll find out in about 10 minutes. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back with more Overwatch Tranquility action very shortly.
I'm NPC, the Tranquility Hammer. Have you lost Overwatch games due to smurfs, levers, or throwers? Have you been on the same team as Bard? You may be entitled to compensation.
I used to be in silver. Thanks to NPC and the Overwatch Tranquility community gear, I'm now a gold Moira player, spawn camping Ice, the Season 3 Discord tier MVP. Thanks, NPC!
Go to my website right now and let me fight for discounts for you. Go to owtranquility.org and click store, or go to shop.spreadshirt.com/owtranquility.
I've asked to remain anonymous for my safety, but I'm an admin in an Overwatch community. It can be exhausting work. But these shirts, they're so cheap, I have shirts to burn. And now thanks to NPC, I can own the Zoomers, and I can do it in style.
I'm going to hammer down prices of Tranquility merchandise this week. Up to 15%. If you place your order on July 29th or July 30th, you'll get 15% off your entire order. Go to my website now to get the SR and the Tranquility gear that you deserve. Tranquility merchandise does not guarantee victories in Overwatch or increase in skill rating. 15% off, valid on orders placed on July 29th and 30th at Spreadshirt.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Overwatch Tranquility, where we've got an amazing matchup for you here in the Transcendence tier. Meta Rejects versus Orbit going down right now. In the first half, Meta Rejects took it away 2-0, almost in a very strong sweeping fashion, which would be expected from a team that is heavily set with all-stars and champions from previous seasons. But Orbit, I still think has a chance to be able to bring it back. I'm your play-by-play Captain Jack, joined by Juke on the analyst role. Juke, what do you got for Orbit? Do they have a way to be able to turn this around and start that reverse sweep?
Well, I think maybe they're choosing King's Row here, Scrim's Row, the like official home of Overwatch, to hope that it returns things back to normal. We've seen some weird stuff from Meta Rejects. They went up very early on Hanamura and then just sort of all picked. I believe they used some kind of randomizer to get their heroes. No, but they were very aggressive. They were playing a lot of Hog and Ball. Dunzo and Velzen both doing a great job getting into the back lines and just buying, again, so much space that Horus and Nerdables, who were playing DPS on the last map, Mr. Yeti coming in to, hopefully play a little bit of DPS on this map. So we'll see how that goes. I know Orbit is a strong team. They looked very good in the preseason, but we'll definitely need to see more out of them here if they are going to come back and make this anything but a clean. They still play the 4, correct? 4 maps, even if it's they win the first 3. Okay. So we're hoping that they can win this one and get a chance of winning, but even just avoiding a 4-0 at this point may be what Orbit are looking for.
That is true. And as Juke said, we do have Mr. Yeti coming back in for Nerdables. So we will see Yeti again try to do something, and we will be here to cheer him on. So as we head into a Scrim's Row, King's Row, whatever y'all call it, the map that we see way too much of and probably about every Overwatch competition that you could possibly shake a stick at. Already some very interesting choices coming in from Orbit on the defense, and I think it's gonna be like I said. If they're gonna stick with the meta, they're gonna have a really hard time holding strong against this. But it looks like Meta Rejects might be swinging in that way as well. What do you think, Juke?
I like the choices so far from Orbit. The Mave Reaper combo can really shut down anybody who tries to dive into you. It makes it so that you don't want to stay there because you just take so much damage, you get frozen. If you're not extremely careful, that's pretty much it. But it looks like a more traditional tank line coming out from Meta Rejects with the Rhine Zarya. Horus, I know he is a fan of the legs. We'll see if he can maybe flank and get some open space here. And Yeti just going to try and be a nuisance in the backline with this Sombra. But the question is, will they get shut down at these choke points with Robe on the Mei?
I think that they're just ignoring the fact that there is a choke point. Oh, but already Robe gonna cut off the rest of the team, but they're gonna be able to get through rather quickly. Bluebit with that swing and hammer gets the double kill, and they're just going to clean up the Meta Rejects, rejecting them back to the spawn for a quick regroup with already 40 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, the good news is this does get Mr. Yeti into the back line where he can start to build up that ultimate percentage. Also, I like seeing Horus utilize legs properly and do the one thing he's good at and run away. So we'll see here as the engagement starts in earnest. A big ante coming out, but they're not able to capitalize, and Orbit will stabilize here.
It's true, and we did see Dunzo swap back over to the Winston, so we're going to see that comp from the first map once again, that Winston Zarya that was really working out for them. But it looks like this double shield continuing to hold relatively strong as Velzen is able to get the pick onto Shinobu, but that may not be enough for them to continue to hold strong. Big anti-nade coming in, and now the attack visor in from Horus, looking to see if they can get some picks, but those big old blue shields just continuing to hold strong right now for the defense until Velzen shuts it down. Solza ends up falling, and they're trying to move their way back in. Ore 2 ticks on the objective. Shatter comes in, ends up missing Dunzo as the Graviton gets the triple right there. The cleanup coming in from Dunzo and Horus. Smug's able to get a pick of their own as well, and at the 2-minute mark, we will see them secure objective Alpha and get that payload moving through the streets.
Yeah, and although we didn't talk about it, my major concern with what they were running here is it still doesn't shut down this combo of Velzen on the Zarya, Dunzo on the Winston. As again, they pop the bubble, he gets into the back line, and he's just able to make so much chaos. Bluevis getting pushed into the front lines here and taken out. It's just clockwork here for the Meta Rejects.
That is true, and already the Nano going in onto Dunzo. The payload isn't even anywhere close to objective number 3, but Meta Rejects has them pushed all the way back into spawn. Balake using the beat to go ahead and push back in. Gravitic Flux now coming out from Solstar, looking to see if they can get some picks of their own. Robe on that May gets the double kill with the Icicle as Bluebit follows up onto Dunzo, and they will push all the way back into the objective, locking it down right outside the pub.
Yeah, but I think you're totally happy with that fight. If you're the Meta Reject, you're able to get a ton of cart movement, and you force the enemy to use ults just to stop you from bomb camping him. Shinobu here getting a response onto Mr. Yeti as he takes the high ground with that Reaper. A good start. They do have some big ultimates coming up. So the question is going to be, can Smugs save the team with that immortality field?
That will definitely be the question. Tac Visor now coming out from Horus there on the high ground, ends up getting the Nano as well. Nope, not the Nano just yet. That was my mistake. But we will see the healing coming in strong. Maywall tries to separate. Graviton trades off with the Blizzard, keeping the Meta Rejects off from the objective. Now the Nano goes in onto Horus, building up for that next Tac Visor, allowing them with Mr. Yeti to take down Solsta as the Primal Rage now coming out from Dunzo, just trying to push everyone and anyone off of that cart right now, but still Robe and Azzy holding strong on that cart. Bluebit now back in, swinging that hammer as the immortality field now coming out from Smugs, looking to see if they can keep everyone up. Shinobu tearing up the front line as that Reaper, and that's going to send them all the way back to spawn with only a couple additional meters after a 1.5-minute fight.
Yeah, I think we had talked about how important the immortality field was there from the Baptiste, but Smugs just kind of took it, used a window in the back lines by himself, and then the immortality for himself. So not able to win the fight there, but now they're starting to come back with the respawn advantage. Shinobu gets stunned out of the Death Blossom. That is so painful, but I think they're still going to be able to clean it up.
That's true. That Coalescence does a lot of healing and a lot of damage, and Balake taking down Sumeru. Solsta following up on Velzen. They're going to send them back to spawn once again. 1:30 remaining on the clock, and that payload is moving its way back to the starting point.
Yeah, and this is where things start to get a little tricky here for the Meta Rejects. They are stalling these fights out way too long. When you're playing Dive, you want the fight to start and end very quickly. They are losing out to these mid-fights of the much more stable roster that Orbit is choosing here. So it's going to be interesting. Now, Ultimate's coming up for both teams. It's going to be a question of who uses them better.
All right, let's see if they can make it happen. Well, Mr. Yeti coming in as the Sigma as the High Noon is used from Horus. Blizzard gets used on the objective, though, by Robe. Ends up taking down Mr. Yeti before they're able to use that Gravitic Flux. Graviton Surge gets traded out with the Gravitic Flux, keeping them away from the objective. Coalescences coming out as if we have Super Saiyans fighting against one another. Shinobu able to get that pick onto Velzen as they continue to try to grab control of the cart. And again, we are in this long fight once again, but with the tanks down, for the side of Orbit is going to be hard for them to hold on. Bluebit now back into the fight as they try to regain control of the cart, but they're fighting in this side room under the suns, and that is not going to help them stop this cart now, as he able to get a horse with the death ball right there, and the Maywall will separate them from the objective, keeping them away, not even triggering overtime, and that will be a stall out for the Meta Rejects, just shy of objective number 2.
Yeah, really getting into trouble there from the Meta Rejects. Once Orbit was able to build up ultimates and cycle them properly, there wasn't a defensive ability that could really save them. The only defensive ability I could see was the shield from Zarya, but that was always going on to Dunzo to let him get work done in the backline. So the question here is, will they continue to run these sort of off-meta picks on the Meta Rejects as they take the defense? We're seeing something that looks more traditional here. But it looks like they will be running Mr. Yeti on the sim. The important thing about the turrets here for Yeti is they do not miss.
Well, anything that can help out Mr. Yeti will definitely be a benefit to the rest of the team, but it looks like Robe possibly might be looking to do that themselves. We could be... I don't know if this is a trick or a play, but maybe they're using Robe's teleporter to try to get in that backline quickly.
It's so far until the match starts. Don't let him bait you, Captain.
I always let them bait me, but they don't have that far. Like, the choke's right there, so using a teleporter just to go, oh, that's it. Oh, that's it. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I was hoping for. I was waiting for Shinobu to swap over to the Bastion. Oh, they are going to do the statue trick. Let's see if Meta Rejects are truly ready for this all-time play. Here comes the teleporter as they move on to the high ground, and there it is, Shinobu coming in as Horus ends up using the deflect, but not going to get a lot of value out of it. Not able to get a kill off of that high ground, but Bluebit will be able to separate out Dunzo regardless. Shinobu working on that Bastion as we see Horus trying to take them out. Teleporter coming back in clutch as we just see Shinobu moving back and forth on that teleporter pad. Balake getting a double kill there, though, on Mr. Yeti and Horus. So without the DPS or the side of the Meta Rejects, I think that this is going to be Orbit's objective, and they are looking very strong to turn this around for their favor.
Yeah, I like the choice there from Orbit. Everybody knows how that strat works, but it still can be pretty hard to stop. Meta Rejects just about did all they could, but it's tough when you're running that Rhine as your main tank. But it looks like a lot of ultimates coming up here. The fight gets started in earnest. A big slam!
Oh, there was a big slam, but I don't know if it got stunned out at the last minute there. I didn't see it really get much of anything, but maybe the cleanup will come in just the same. And that is going to be a strong setup for them. Teleporter coming up and then right back down there for Mr. Yeti. And with only objective 2 to be captured right here, it looks like they're in prime position to make this their first win of the night.
Yeah, in huge trouble here for the side of Meta Rejects. They needed this grab coming in from Belzen. A big stagger from Orbit, chasing him down. I'm not sure what the answer is. The wall comes up from Sim.
And that wall is perfect right there. Shinobu ends up picking off Sumeru right there as they go through the teleporter. Everyone just trying to get on the objective, but Shinobu is just in such a beautiful position right there. And they can't touch. They just couldn't touch it. All that damage coming in from the Bastion on the high ground was just too much, and Orbit will turn this ship around, taking us to a map 4 with 1-2 here on Kings Row.
Yeah, and here was that big shatter I was talking about, just barely getting it around that corner from Bluebit. Yeah, that's part of what got them in here. It's so difficult to come back from these Bastion pushes. Once they get set up, it's a nightmare trying to push into that thing, especially if you're not running something that feels like goats, something where you can just sort of walk into it and survive. Anything where you need to sort of flank around, everybody needs to be coming in at the same time. It's very difficult to get that all coordinated. We saw some fun plays there. I think the last little bit of stall was just Genji hiding behind the cart, but that didn't last too long, and Orbit were able to close it out.
Yeah, that was really huge for them right there. And I think that maybe I'm starting to understand why Meta Rejects is named so, because they went on a pretty relatively meta composition and they ended up losing. So I'm not for certain. Maybe Meta Rejects is only gonna be good, as we described earlier, on those one-trick niche heroes. Typically when I see a Bastion and I'm playing, first thing in my mind is either Junkrat Reaper or Hog, just something that can dislodge the Bastion, take it out quickly, or just get it out of position and out of that turret mode. So maybe Meta Rejects really needs to rethink. Are we going to live up to the name? And is that going to hold us together? Or are they going to start trying to swing into the meta, so to speak? And I don't know. It didn't work out for them on King's Row. But again, as you said, that Bastion is definitely hard to fight. And it looks like we're headed to Dorado for our next map. So we might be seeing some more Protect the President on the cart for this push as well.
It's definitely possible. I would like to see Meta Rejects stay on what has worked for them, which is this monkey Zarya. It's been very popular in China. It is not a meme pick. It is legitimate right now. This is a scary thing to deal with. The monkey can do so much damage. That natural sort of inclination for your team to bunch up and work together for mass heals and things like that. It doesn't work against this monkey that gets shielded from the Zarya. He's happy to take all that ult charge, get primal in like 10 seconds. So
Pretty
yeah,
much.
It'll be interesting to see what Meta Rejects does here. I'm also a little interested in the mental game. Meta Rejects were just running roughshod over Orbit these first two maps. Again, the perception is when you see something like what they're running, oh, they're memeing, whatever. But maybe this is what they practice. These are a lot of players who were trying to make it pro. I think most of them have sort of moved on from those aspirations, but they're still just really good.
All right. Well, we will definitely see if they have what it takes to take this here in Dorado. We definitely could be seeing this also go to a map 5, so be sure to pop off in the chat there. I see what you're already saying. Don't think I don't know that. Don't think I don't know. But be popping off in the chat right now as to who you think will take it away. Do you think that Meta Rejects will be able to take this map and just end it right there? Or do you think Orbit is really taking it straight to space, going to take this map and roll them on map 5 as well so that they can take away the victory? Truly, after that show of force, it could be anyone's game. So let us know there in the comments. Juke, it looks like we're seeing Nerdables back into the action for Mr. Yeti. Do you think that ups the success rate for Meta Rejects going into this map?
Look, we all love Yeti and we want to see him succeed, but God, yes, Nerdables is way better than Yeti. Let's not entertain the fact that anything contrary to that is even possible. Nerdables is much better overall at all heroes. I'm sorry, Yeti.
We still love you. We really do, but the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie, man.
Yeah.
All right. So defense looks like we're not going with the Bastion, but we are going with the double shield. So we're definitely got that going. And with the attack, not feeling like I'm going to be debated, it looks like they're going to go again with that Winston Zarya composition, which is great on Dorado. I mean, being able to jump back and down on the high ground, and then you still got that tank to be able to provide a presence on the objective, is going to work out really well on a map like Dorado. But I mean,
closed hold coming up.
oh man, are we doing one of these? Are we doing 3 meters and no more kind of hold here? Oh boy, this should be interesting. All right, so
Nerd
go ahead.
Making a swap over to the Pharah, that's not something they'll be able to deal with very easily. It's just a question of the shield breaker in this tiny room.
That is true. And they have to be close enough to that doorway to be able to keep the cart from moving forward. This is a strategy that's been used several times in several matches around the world, but it's hard to hold on to it, as you see right there. Nerdables just plowing into that room. Velzen following up on the final 2 kills. They will take it down. Only not even a minute for Orbit to hold on to that, and Meta Rejects are already past the choke point, headed into Objective 1.
Yeah, just quickly before we head into the next point, that is a first. I have seen many Pharahs near the ground ulting, but I don't think I've seen one on the cart moving with it. That has to be the first time that's happened in a Tranquility match.
It was definitely interesting to watch. It's almost like moving through a car wash and just seeing everything wash over you, except it's hundreds and hundreds of rockets. Just absolutely beautiful destruction. But they did grab objective number 1. The Pharah Mercy still strong in the sky, as Shinobu has taken on the Widow this time around to see if they can deal with that Pharah Mercy. But so far, it doesn't look like it is working out well for them. And the team is just kind of scattered throughout the entire map right now. Amplification Matrix now coming out for Balake. Ends up getting the pick onto Smugs as Robe follows up onto Velzen. But the trades are coming in from Horus and Sumeru, trying to keep that cart going. Here comes the Nano in on Horus, but immediately gets shut down by Azzy. Just that 150 health, not going to help you out against the defense that is Orbit, and it looks like that cart gonna be stalled right there as they regroup rather quickly. 4:20 on the clock. Nice. As we move in, Graviton, Gravitic Flex, Barrage. Oh my goodness, it's the battle of the Qs, and it looks like Meta Rejects will be the ones to fall as they send them back to spawn with 4 minutes remaining on the clock.
Yeah, good job there from Solsta, sort of interrupting the combo coming in. Once the grab came in from Velzen, immediately he responded, and nobody was able to follow up with damage. And as he just sort of cleaned up with that coalescence. That said, oh, it looks like they actually swapped off. I thought this was a good place for the Pharah, but Nerdables is gonna go over to the Widow and see what they can do from long range.
True, and it looks like the Nano coming in onto Dunzo ends up getting up to the Primal and gonna start pushing them back once again. Able to get the double kill there onto Azzy. Shinobu make that triple kill as they follow up onto Solsta as well. Not a team kill, but might as well be, as the cart starts moving its way into Objective 2 with 3 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and just lots of little swaps coming in from Meta Rejects is able to sort of keep things so that I don't know what Orbit is really trying to accomplish with their lineups. Tracer and Reaper don't really work together. I feel like this is a lot. It's asking a lot of Rogue.
Yeah, and I think that that's exactly what we're seeing here. Balake popping out the Immortality and the Window, trying to give some support right there. The Pulse Bomb ends up being absorbed by the Immortality field, but Nerdables able to get that first pick onto Shinobu right there, working very strong from the high ground, as we just see Smugs on the low ground, earning up that rally, just swinging for the stars right now, as we see Dunzo moving back into the objective incredibly low already, ends up retreating back for health. Gravitic Flux coming in, able to grab Velzen, but only gets them down to half health, not going to be able to follow up and get that finalization. Solsta able to get Nerdables there at the end, but Smugs will trade with the flail onto Robe. 1 minute, 50 seconds remaining on the clock, and only 5 meters to go.
Yeah, and like I was saying, this is a lot to ask of Robe, but so far he has definitely been answering the call. Maybe not getting too many frags, but occupying a lot of people in the back line. Sort of the same effect that we're seeing from Dunzo on the side of Meta Rejects. So it looks like they're sort of caught in the vault here. I'm wondering how they're going to get out.
Well, it looks like they're going to get out with a big old nano onto Dunzo as Robe able to get the pulse bomb onto Velzen before they end up getting out. And now comes the primal out from Dunzo, pushing all but 2 of the team back into spawn. Nerdables coming in on the Echo now ends up getting these sticky mines onto Solsta as Horus and Nerdables continue to follow up on picks. The only one left on the objective is Nerdables and will get taken down by Sumeru. With only 60 seconds on the clock, they will grab Objective 2, get a minute and a half added to their time bank, and start moving their way in to Objective 3.
Yeah, and still the same thing here. Plans not really changing for Meta Rejects. Denzo buying a lot of space. Another swap as Nerdables goes over to the Echo. I'm not sure what the particular reason is. Maybe it's just for fun.
I mean, Echo can literally become anyone. So I would say whether it's for fun or for strategy, they're definitely got a good pick. And Robe is literally covering up the Meta Rejects, getting the double kill there in the backline before they're even able to push in. That's going to stall them for another couple of seconds as they wait for the rest of their team to get back.
Yeah, and again, a lot of weight on the shoulders of Rogue given the lineup. The pulse bomb comes in and just barely
So close.
misses.
But here we go again. Nano onto Dunzo. It's almost like I've seen this story before, but ends up getting halted back, not being able to get the value they're looking for. Balake on the high ground uses the immortality field to try to keep themselves up, but Nerdables and Velzen will just go ahead and clean up everything around the objective. Anti-nade going in onto Robe allows Horus to take them down successfully with the help of Smugs and Sumeru. They're pushing into Objective 3 with only a minute remaining on the clock.
Yeah, maybe that was the plan behind it. I don't think I've seen Echo charge up their copy ultimate so fast. It was like 3 shots from Reaper. I'll need to keep that one in mind. He gets the Death Blossom and just kind of uses it to celebrate, but that could be trouble if he does it again.
That is true. Pulse bomb coming in onto Balake, ends up cleaning everything up. The Blossom out from Shinobu gets stunned by Smugs, though, and they are just cleaning up this Objective. Robe once again in the 1v6. Not going to be able to hold strong. Gravitic Flux coming out from spawn, ends up getting 3, but the cleanup is still strong for the side of the Meta Rejects. Only 10 seconds remaining on the clock right now as we see now the swap onto the ball for Bluebit. Solsta now coming in on the Winston, trying to see if they can stall out this objective, but I don't think anyone can get there. Oh, man! Solsta jumps, but gets flailed back by Smugs, and that will be Objective 3 with 2.7 seconds remaining on the clock for Meta Reject.
Yeah, and this is definitely not a map that you're guaranteed to finish. The third point of Dorado is notoriously difficult. Yeah, I think just about all these escort maps, you know, getting point 1 usually okay, point 2, you know, most teams will get it done, but completely finishing out the map is kind of a tall order sometimes. So we'll see what the teams decide as we swap here. I'm not sure that Meta Rejects really need to change anything. It is all on orbit here. We'll have to see what their plans are to keep up with the pressure that they've been under all night long.
Well, I think the question may be the fact that will the composition that Meta Rejects played on the attack work on the defense? And we haven't seen that yet. We saw them go a more traditional composition on King's Row and pretty much get flattened. So that didn't work out well. So I'm hoping that we might see that work out this time around. Horus is coming in on the Sombra, which if they are running, which looks like almost a mirror composition, at least for the tank line, Shinobu switching over to the McCree at the last minute might work out for them.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I was kind of liking what they were doing with the Echo Mercy coming out. Oh, Shinobu with a big pick there on the
Ooh.
Nerdables.
That's a great way to start off, and we already see Horus in the backline gets the hack onto Shinobu, but I mean, really, what does that prevent McCree from doing? Rolling, maybe? That's just about it. Not the best pick you want to get, but the anti-nade comes in huge there for Balake as they move back into that high ground attack, already making their way through the choke with only that single pick, and they're going to continue to work their way through right now. The hacks trying to come in through the backline, but Robe literally keeping both Nerdables and Horus at bay. And actually, the whole team's just going to join in the fun as they go ahead and chase down Nerdables and Horus. The Nano now going in onto Smugs to get aggressive. Robe sends the Pulse Bomb in the backline, taking down Sumeru, but Nerdables and Bilzen will take down the healers for the side of Orbit, and that is going to be a hold of this objective right there. The last one to fall is going to be Robe by Belzen. With already 2 minutes 30 seconds on the clock, they pushed it relatively far, but can they get it all the way?
Yeah, and you say they've pushed it far, but it's been about 2 minutes only at the bridge. I wouldn't be happy with this progress. This is one of the things that I'm seeing from Meta Rejects. It's sort of bend but don't break mentality. They are losing a lot of first picks, but still ending up winning the fight. And that has to go credit to Sumeru and Smugs, keeping the team in it, despite things not going so right. Bolt comes out, both teams. I think it's going to be the Rejects.
Yeah, holding strong right now. The Deadeye does get one. Shinobu following up on Horus afterwards, but Dunzo coming in after the EMP. Shinobu silences Dunzo as well as Velzin gets Robe in the backline, and here comes the cleanup. Can they get the additional 3 as the res comes back in onto Robe? They're trying to clean it up. Sumeru next to fall, but Horus and Velzin back in the fight, holding that front line right there, are going to be able to lock this down. That trade over to the McCree definitely going to work out for the Meta Reject.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to say what the problem is here for Orbit as far as closing out these fights. I don't know if it's target focus, if it is the support line of the Meta Rejects, but so many times we see them with an advantage, but they just don't get the objective.
Well, I think it's like you said, Sumeru is an incredible Ana player, and many of the times we've seen this turn around, it's a huge anti-nade while they're all grouped up on their team. So not only does it provide a lot of healing, but then it antis the enemy team, and they're able to turn it around. And now this Nano coming in on the Monkey is gonna get the healers once again. Horus taking down Shinobu after a failed Deadeye, and Dunzo will take down their counter Bluebit, sending them back to spawn once again. 30 seconds on the clock. And Orbit, I hate to say it, but we may not be going to space today.
Yeah, and it's panic time here for Orbit. Sort of taking a look at what they have available. They're maybe looking to hit a big grav into Pulse Mine. No lamp available. So we'll see what they're able to do.
Ooh, whoa! Interesting Graviton. I'm guessing they were just trying to use that to create space right there. Pulse Bomb coming in ends up taking down Smugs, which can be great if they're trying to hold this objective. The only one close by is Dunzo right now that is fighting in a 1v3. They will grab the objective, but the fight is not done as the Graviton came out from Velzin but didn't grab who it was looking for. Nerdfuls will slap Bluebit with that Pulse Mine as Solsta and Azzy follow up on Velzin and Horus. That is going to go ahead and clear up this objective of everyone but Nerdables. Balake able to get that last pick, and the cart is going to move forward with 2 minutes on the clock for objective 2.
Yeah, at the very end of the fight there, it looks like a bit of a whiff on the grab from Belzen. Not able to get it onto the cart, just sort of shooting it off to the side. I'm not sure what the plan was. It might have been over either way, but the important thing for Orbit is they stay in this fight. Meta Rejects coming in with the high ground control as Dunzo comes in.
The Nano goes in onto Bluebit as well as the Valkyrie coming out, but Nerdables is on that Doomfist and clearing out the cart. Gets the triple kill. Horus following up onto Azzy, and Smugs getting a pick onto Bluebit. And that will clear the cart once again. 1:20 on the clock as they still have 2/3 of the way to get to Objective 2.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying about maybe it feels like Orbit aren't quite sure what to do. We see about 5 swaps coming in the span of a few seconds there as Orbit gets things planned out. They decide to go with the Ana and the Brig, so this will give them some good anti-dive, but they're also a bit vulnerable if they get focused.
All right, well, the Nano comes in onto Dunzo as well as the High Noon. Doesn't get the picks that they are looking for on either ultimate invested in that fight. Anti-Nade comes in huge with the Primal looking to turn things around as Sumeru trying to fight against Shinobu there onto the high ground. The rest of the fight taking place inside. The Blossom comes out from Shinobu, gets the double kill onto Horus and Sumeru. But we see the team moving back in. Meta Rejects trying to defend this cart, but Robe trying to take out Dunzo will solidify with Solsta on that pick. Pulse Bomb comes out trying to get Smugs, but will end up missing by about a foot right there as we see them pushing into their backline, trying to see if they can get picks. Belzen just tearing it up. Graviton Surge ends up coming in onto Azzy and will get melted. The only one left near the objective right now is Shinobu, just trying to keep it going, but as overtime ticks away, I think this is it. Oh no! Every time I say it, there's always a last-ditch effort. Bluebit comes back in, but gets punched out by Nerdables and finalized by Smugs. We see the ultimates coming in, and they are huge, clearing the cart and solidifying success for the Meta Rejects. 3-1 here on Dorado.
Yeah, and I had brought it up during halftime. Watching Meta Rejects reminds me a lot of, I'm not sure how many people here pay attention to Contenders Trials or Contenders, but a team Avoided, they'll play, there's sort of the new Clockwork Vendetta, where they play these heroes like the Vol, the Winston, the Hog in situations where you might not expect it. The game just kind of degenerates into a lot of 1v1 fights. And the thing about that is, while that's going on, one, you are playing into something that they are more experienced in, so you're going to have a hard time beating them at it. And two, as we saw there, the cart just doesn't progress that much. All it takes is one person having their fight from the defense on that cart, and it doesn't move. So even while Orbit was winning a fight, it took a minute and the cart moved like 30 meters. We barely saw it cross in front of church while, Meta Rejects was constantly just streaming in reinforcements. So it's an interesting play style. Not one I would recommend based on how some of my cop games have gone. I think maybe there's some Avoided fans out there. Maybe that's what's happening. But when you see it done right, it's really a pleasure to watch.
That is true. And I think that it's a combination of kind of what you've been saying all night. The fact that this team is made up of so many very experienced players that have been playing for a long time with one another. They have kind of the advantage of both worlds. They have the advantage of the skill that comes in the 1v1 situations, as well as the skill and communication that comes with working together as a team. And no matter what composition it seems that you put them on, they're going to end up being successful. So congratulations to Meta Rejects taking away your win this evening against Orbit. We're going to throw it all to you in the chat. Who is your player of the match for this evening? Juke, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Oh, for me, it has to be Velzen. Dunzo obviously got a lot of the kills there, but Velzen makes that happen with the smart shield management, despite the fact that Zarya is not a great defensive hero. We saw he was in the backline supporting his team a lot. There were a few times that he would just stand between, two people having a duel. So there was like a Tracer attacking his Widow, and he just stands in the middle of it and says, okay, now our Widow has 700 health because I'm here, you know? So it makes a big difference just getting in the way of people trying to attack your backline. And that's something I saw from Velzen all night. I did bring up the whiff grab, you know, everybody has one of those.
Yeah.
But for me, it has to be Velzen.
See, I'm gonna have to give some healer love tonight, and I'm sending it straight to Sumeru. Did an incredible job all night. I mean, we already know Sumeru's an incredible Ana player, but was definitely popping off all night long. You know, I don't think at all switched off of Ana the entire night, and provided a lot of, like, for me trying to play Ana with all that dive going on. No way. There was no way that would be. So major props keeping your team up. Huge anti-nage, huge sleep darts on ultimates, just everything that you want. I've been amazing on a player. We saw that tonight from Sumeru. So go ahead, keep blowing up that chat. Let us know what you want to see coming up. I'm going to go ahead and head into our schedule for the upcoming week. And it looks like, be sure to check out on YouTube. We are going to have our YouTube match in the Harmony division between Nuclear and Doodles. So be sure to check that out after we are all said and done here. Looking into next week on Tuesday the 18th, we have in the Harmony division Ultraviolet versus Phantasmal. On Thursday, we have Water Esports versus Volume Zero. Oh, that's right. So whichever team replaced Water Esports versus Volume Zero. And then we will see Friday night Otaku Empire, which has been a big name already, versus Lucid in the Transcendence tier. So be sure to check out all those amazing matches right here at Overwatch Tranquility, or you can catch us over on YouTube as well. Be sure to hit that heart, punch that bell, subscribe if you can do it. And that is it for us tonight. Thank you so much to our amazing producer, Cavalier. Couldn't have done it without you. My name's Captain Jack.
And this is Juke. You can find me at JukeCasts. It was fun to fill in. Normally, I am an observer. I do this maybe once or twice a year where I actually get to talk. But yeah, that should be it. Any last words for the audience here, Captain Jack?
Nope. We'll see y'all next time.
I'm NPC, the Tranquility Hammer. Have you lost Overwatch games due to smurfs, levers, or throwers? Have you been on the same team as Bard? You may be entitled to compensation.
I used to be in silver. Thanks to NPC and the Overwatch Tranquility community gear, I'm now a gold Moira player, spawn camping Ice, the Season 3 Discord tier MVP. Thanks, NPC!
Go to my website right now and let me fight for discounts for you. Go to owtranquility.org and click store, or go to shop.spreadshirt.com/owtranquility.
I've asked to remain anonymous for my safety, but I'm an admin in an Overwatch community. It can be exhausting work. But these shirts, they're so cheap, I have shirts to burn. And now thanks to NPC, I can own the Zoomers, and I can do it in style.
I'm going to hammer down prices of Tranquility merchandise this week. Up to 15%. If you place your order on July 29th or July 30th, you'll get 15% off your entire order. Go to my website now to get the SR and the Tranquility gear that you deserve. Tranquility merchandise does not guarantee victories in Overwatch or increase in skill rating. 15% off, valid on orders placed on July 29th and 30th at Spreadshirt.com.